My name is Kevin Neff. I'm an award-winning brand creator, director, and producer who for over 25 years has worked with everyone from mom and pop brick and mortars to multi-million-dollar businesses. But I'm best known for being outside the box when it comes to all things marketing and brand creation. Join me now as I sit down with industry experts and professionals as they share not only their personal stories of success, but the keys to obtaining as well. Right now on Kevin Neff's Speaking of Success. I'm here with John Miziolek. For those that don't know, can you tell them a little about who you are and what you are and who you do it for?
Just to sort of start, first of all, this is our 10th anniversary for my company, Reset Branding, which we're obviously very excited about because longevity in this type of industry is not something that comes easy. Reset Branding is a strategic branding and design firm, and we build brands. That's it, period.
I want to know, since you're celebrating 10 years of success, why have you been able to have the success that you've had? Because there's a lot of people who have longevity, we know that, but you've had an extreme amount of success. Everything from winning awards to hosting I believe a History Channel series, did you not?
Yes, I was approached by one of the producers for that particular series, and they were trying to put together a show that talked about how products were named. Right, and they wanted to go through, it's a History Channel, so they wanted to go through history and talk about products and where the name originated from and why it's still around or why it's different. And I sat down with the producers, and originally they said, we just want you to be kind of a, like when you watch CSI or something, they've got these specialists off to the side that are doctors and surgeons, and they sort of consult on the show. That's what they wanted for this show. And then I sat down with them and I said, well, okay, here's what you're trying to do. Here are the 4 categories of names. Here's why they're important. Here's why they're relevant. Here's what the approach you sort of take in naming your products. And they said, well, you sound good and you look good. Would you be willing to be on camera? And I said, oh, well, don't mind if I do. And that's how it started. And I ended up shooting 5 out of the 11 episodes. Well, and it was really exciting.
That, I've got to give you a fist bump. That's pretty doggone cool.
Thanks.
But it's also, as we like to call in the business, a segue, which we didn't really plan. But that show, and you just described the description of what it was meant to be, is also very similar to how you named your company. And why? Because there's a story behind your name that I actually found very interesting. Take a minute to share that with our viewers.
Sure. You know what? I honestly believe that you have to create some kind of myth or story around your brand. Before I get to that, we have to understand that brands communicate on 2 levels, emotional and rational, right? There's a big difference between somebody saying, I have to go to the store because I need to buy some more soap, versus somebody saying, I have to go to the store and I'm going to pick up some Dove. And the difference between those 2 statements is the difference between a regular product and a brand. And people associate good feelings with that brand or a connection to that brand. It does what what the product claims that it's going to do for them. And so they keep going back, and then it just becomes part of their everyday routine. And there's a huge difference there. And if you can hit the emotional side of the consumers and what they're looking for, you will tap into the biggest, strongest market for your product or your service or whatever it is that you're offering.
Agreed.
So in our case, when we wanted to name the company, we had seen all of these agencies that were doing all exactly the same thing. A few minutes ago you said cookie cutter. And I've been in the business for more than 25 years, and I've seen every agency operate exactly the same way. And it's so irritating to see that. But on the other side, it's so easy to go outside of that and do something completely different. And my partner and I sat down and we looked at all of our competitors in the industry and we said, there's something wrong here. You know what? We need to hit the reset button. And that's what we did. And that's how we named the company Reset Branding.
Now, why is it that you feel, and I just want to back up, and your firm, much like mine, I hate the word agency. When people call me an agency, I'm like, I am not one of those. I am not an agency. I am not that.
I will resist that term.
Well, I personally do. You can speak how you feel about it, but I like to be considered as a boutique firm. And when I say boutique, we don't deal in quantity of clients, we deal in quality of client. And the reason is because we want to give that client so much attention. And we feel if we do a good job with that, we don't have to worry about quantity of clients because we're keeping the clients we already have. Do you kind of operate with that same thought?
Yeah, it's funny. If a lot of agencies were listening to this interview right now, and I'm about to say something about firing clients, they would completely freak out because they're not built to fire clients. And something that my partner and I did in the first couple of years of operating Reset Branding is we looked at our roster. Some of them were inherited and some of them were brand new. And we said, which clients are going to get us to the next level and which clients right now are holding us back? And we very respectfully came up with the list and went to those clients and said, I'm really sorry. We're happy to help you find another agency or another firm, whatever you're looking for, but we're not right. We're not a good match. And that is a great testament to the way that we built our company, because if you're in a position where you can turn away business or have existing business and you're going to tell them that you don't want to work with them anymore, you have to have a very specific model in order for that to work. And there's a lot of agencies right now and companies probably right now that are listening to this interview right now saying, I could never fire a client. That seems scary to me. Why? I have business. Why would I turn it away? You have to be able to analyze that and step back and say, is that client the best match for your company? Or is it just a regular billing cycle that you're going through? And the type of work that we do, we are extremely passionate about what we do, whether we're building a corporate brand or a personal brand or a CPG brand. And if it's not a good match and the client isn't getting what they need from us and vice versa, it's time to cut it loose, because there's other clients that could take that attention from us and that passion that they love and redirect it into another project and create something innovative. So one of the things that I believe is a key component of success is this idea around perspective. And what you just talked about is all about perspective. You know your business to be from here to here. And within this framework, you've got some clients that are great and some clients that aren't so great. And if all you ever look at is from here to here, your focus is going to be narrow-minded. What if I told you these clients that are revenue this big and headache that big, what if I told you you could have 10 of those? What would your business look like if you had 10 of those clients? And if I told you you could have 10, but there's one caveat, you have to get rid of all the other ones that are opposite, would you do it? Everybody would do it. And that's one of the points that I think people watching this really need to understand. If you're an entrepreneur and you have a business, look at it from the idea of an outside perspective. And one of the things we were talking about before is that I make this look easy, you make this look easy, but it's not easy. It takes a tremendous work ethic to get to this point. And I think one of the reasons why people maybe misinterpret the fact that it looks easy is because this doesn't feel like a job for me. If you don't have that energy and that drive to do whatever it is that client needs your help with, get out of the business, man. If you just don't have it, don't do it. But if you're going to be in it, for God's sakes, get right in there and mix it up. All of those pieces will have something to do with where that product or that client or that brand needs to go.
We know you've had great success in the branding world, and we kid a lot, but I have total respect and admiration for what you've done and some of the clients you've worked with. Have you ever had one either project or client that if you have to name one, it's like, that's the one I just loved? Is there one like that for you?
Wow, what a great question. To narrow it down to just one project or one client, I think that's tough, because based on what we do and how we do it, every project is a little bit different, right? The key core structure of building brands from our perspective is always the same. I saw this quote once from AC/DC, and they were interviewing Angus Young, and the interviewer said, how do you feel or react to the statement that people make, well, you've made 11 albums that all sound exactly the same? And Angus thought for a moment and he said, they're wrong. We've made 12 albums that all sound exactly the same. And I thought, so that's just...
And I think I have all 12, by the way.
Exactly. And I just love that statement, because that's what I'm trying to get to here. The ingredients that go into what they do is the same, but they change the way they make the cake, and that's what we do. So to answer your question in an extremely long-winded way, there's no one project for me that really stands out. There's no one client. I love a new challenge, and as soon as we get a new project in the studio, we're just all over it like rabid dogs on a steak. We can't wait to solve that problem.
That's quite some picture you just painted. Rabid dogs to a steak. Much like myself, I have other interests besides work. Some might find that hard to believe, but because I love what I do. But in your life, it is music as an outlet for creativity, And you actually not only enjoy drumming, but you are the drummer for a pretty doggone successful hard rock band in Canada with the name of Leather Dust.
That's correct.
Tell our viewers about Leather Dust.
Well, what can I say? We're a hard rock trio from the Toronto area. We are determined to bring back that classic, in-your-face, wicked guitar riff music that I grew up listening to, that I think we all appreciate. There's something magical when you get that right group of people together. Yeah. It's the same thing in business, and that's why, for me, I have such a passion for what I do at Reset Branding, and then I have such a passion for music, because it's a creative outlet, and when you get that right group of people and you get that right crowd, there's a magical connection that takes place. And it's a similar sort of way that when you have a great brand and people are connecting with that brand and you tap into their emotions for that brand, there's a connection that's drawn there, and then they become loyal followers, or they become ticket buyers and album purchasers, and that's really, for me, why there's such a connection there. Plus, I have a ton of energy that I just need to get out and freaking hammer the drums every once in a while, because I just love it.
John, you're always a delight and pleasure to talk to. I want to wish you continued success. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.